There she is, Diane Delano, who is, in fact, a policy analyst for a terrific organization called Advocates for Children of New Jersey. Good to see you.
Hi, thank you for having me.
We've been working with your not-for-profit, our not-for-profits, working with your not-for-profit on an initiative called Right from the Start NJ. How would you describe it?
Well, it's an initiative to really bring attention to the needs of infants and toddlers in our state and to really make and strengthen services and policies around infants and toddlers.
And your organization's been fighting this fight for a long time.
Yes, our organization itself has been around for about 40 years. We just celebrated our 40th anniversary actually last year. And for a little over a year, we've been working on the Right from the Start NJ campaign.
Yeah, it is a campaign because it's about public awareness. It's also about we are not involved in advocacy, but in fact, we're trying to let people understand some of the issues. And one of the first issues that we need to deal with is the Murphy budget. We don't know all the details,
No.
the particulars. But the governor has dedicated in his proposed budget $15 million for what, Diane?
For childcare, and that is huge. Normally, we haven't seen any dollars dedicated strictly for childcare services, so we're very excited to see that it has made it in the budget this year.
Okay, here's the question. You know, there are so many priorities in Trenton, in the state capital, right? When someone says, well, infants and toddlers, caregivers of infants and toddlers, it's a top priority, and someone else says, well, what are you talking about? I don't have a kid that age, or my kids are older, and I don't even have kids. Why is this everyone's issue?
Well, the first 3 years are the most critical part of development. That's where brain development really happens. And what happens in those first 3 years could really have a huge impact on their academic success.
For example, break that down a little bit.
Well, that's where you learn speech. That's where you learn about relationships. It's where your brain takes in your whole environment. So we need to really make sure that everything that surrounds our babies, you know, is nurturing, caring, developmentally appropriate, so that they get off to the right start.
So I'm curious about this. We've had this discussion offline, but I want to talk about it here. Diane, access to quality health care. It's a phrase. Excuse me, access to quality child care.
Yes.
Why is it so difficult for so many?
Right. Well, quality and childcare, two different things. High quality childcare, very expensive. Childcare itself is very expensive, but for babies, it's even more expensive. What you have to do for a child is very different than a preschooler or older age children. They need a lot more care. They need a lot more one-on-one. So the ratios in a child care center, licensing standards are there has to be one caregiver for every 4 babies. So that's where the cost is, really, in the personnel that you have to serve infants and toddlers.
1 second. Someone says, wait a minute, I see this whole movement for pre-K. It's universal pre-K people are proposing, moving forward, making progress. That's not the same as 0 to 3, birth to 3.
No, because this is what happens in the first 3 years of life. And you need to really make sure that they get off to the right start so that they can transition into pre-K and then transition into kindergarten and so on.
And if they don't, talk about some of the challenges they face.
Some of the challenges for not having access to high-quality child care. Well, since there's so much learning that happens in the first 3 years, if they're not ready for pre-K and not ready for kindergarten, it sets them on a trajectory which may have an impact on their academic success.
There's research to back that up.
Oh, there is, yes.
And
decades of research that has shown that high-quality childcare, right from the start, really helps to make a difference.
Dan, talk about the pressures on parents who can't find that care for their children.
69% of women with children under the age of 3 are in the workforce. And the availability of infant-toddler care is scarce in New Jersey. We have communities that are deserts, which means there is no infant-toddler child care even available for them to even access. And we're talking about regulated, licensed child care programs. Right. So they need to find something that meets their work schedule. Because 9 to 5, not everybody works 9 to 5 anymore. So childcare needs to be responsive to the parents' needs.
Let's do this. By the way, you'll see the website up, not only our website for Right from the Start NJ, but also Advocates for Children of New Jersey. New Jersey paid family leave program. There are some changes being made, and I should have said to have a graphic here, but follow me on this. As of right now, new parents or caregivers can receive up to 6 weeks of benefits equal to 2/3 of their pay, capped at $650 a week.
Yes.
It is proposed that on July 1st, 2020, eligible workers will be able to receive 80% of their wages, up to $860 for 12 weeks. Why does that matter so much?
I mean, actually, it's 85%, and
85?
it doubled from 6 weeks to 12 weeks.
Explain what that means for people.
So for the first 3 months, you get to be home with your child, bonding with your child, and you can have an income that you can actually be able to stay home and not worry about, the income that you will be losing from not being in your workplace. And the other benefit about paid family leave is now companies that have 30 or more employees, you have job protection. So you could leave your job for the 12 weeks and come back and have that same position.
If there are 30 employees or more.
Right. That's the new provisions in the new law that was just signed in February.
It's interesting. We've had other leaders from the business community who have some concerns about that. They've had their opportunity to discuss it. They'll continue to be able to do that. But it is, in fact, going to happen on July 1st, 2020.
Those provisions will go into place, yes.
Home visitation. What is home visitation in the minute or so we have left? Why does it matter?
Home visitation is when a skilled, trained professional comes into the home right around or after the time of birth and provides the family with the resources that they need to help them through those first critical months
Who are
after
these
they
people?
bring
You don't
home.
mean a doula?
It could be a doula, it could be a nurse, and it could be a community health worker who comes into the home. What it is a trained person that connects with that parent and helps connect that parent to the services that they need. You know, as a father, how difficult it is those first few months. And all babies are different, and all pregnancies and experiences are different. So having somebody in the home could help detect something and help get them the services early on.
Before I let you out, sorry for interrupting, where are we with that right now? Is Senator Teresa Ruiz, based actually here in Newark, New Jersey, who is the second-ranking Democrat in the Senate, she recently introduced a bill for home visitation. Where is that right now? Right now, it's still out there. It's a brand-new bill that has just been released, and what that would do is get at least one home visit for every new parent. But it's not, has it gone through committee yet? No. Just introduced? It's just introduced, so we're just working on it, but it's something that we would definitely support. Diane, thank you so much to you and your colleagues at Advocates for Children in New Jersey, 40 great years. Thanks so much. Great, thanks. Stay right there. This is State of Affairs. I'm Steve Adubato, and we'll be right back.
State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 30 years of broadcast excellence. State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Agnes Veris NJTV studio at 2 Gateway. Funding has been provided by NJM Insurance Group, Choose New Jersey, the Turrell Fund, supporting Right from the Start NJ, the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, Berkeley College, and by Summit Medical Group,